Hi, this is Meredith Stowers with Cross Country Mortgage and the ADU Coalition, and I am here with the great Denis DeSaix of the Appraisal Institute and owner of MetroCal Appraisal. He has been on the cutting edge of appraisal policy development related to the upzoning of California, ADUs, and now SB 9. Denis, tell us about SB 9 and what it means.
Yeah, SB 9, it's the newest regulation that affects housing and especially the density allowance of housing in California. There's really two parts to SB 9, right? There's the first part that redefines single family lots. And that redefinition is, guess what? If you have a single family lot and it meets this certain criteria, which most properties will, especially in urban and many in suburban areas, then you can develop it for two homes on that one lot. So I've heard some people say it eliminates single family only zoning. It doesn't quite eliminate it, but maybe better put, it expands the opportunity to put two homes on what was previously only a single home lot. So that's part number one. Part number two is even more fascinating as far as I'm concerned. That allows you to split the lot and potentially develop two primary units on side A and two primary units on side B. And then in addition to that, there's going to be the opportunity to add to each of those units an accessory dwelling unit or an ADU. Possible to turn a lot that currently sits one house into two lots that potentially have a total of 8 living units.
So Denis, when you talk about being able to split your lot, you're talking about into two APN numbers. This is an example here, this property where you got a single family home on one side, and let's say they want to split their lot right in half because the minimum lot split is 60-40. You can't go any smaller than that. In other words, you can't carve out a little corner and try to sell it. That's ridiculous. They want you to split it in half. And then you can either build on this as a construction loan, another single family home, or you can sell the lot off for cash, correct?
That's true. Yes.
Okay, so how does that work? And if, let's say, this entire property here, for a nice round number, is valued at $1 million, and it's got a mortgage of $800,000, and they want to split the lot in half, how would an appraiser go about valuing this, and what should people expect to get valuations on?
Yeah, so the concept of having a splittable lot on an improved site is something that we technically call excess land. And I don't want to get too much into appraisal technobabble, but what excess land means is that we have the ability to take from an existing site configuration and develop a new site, and we'll split it. We'll create a new site there that has its potential to be developed itself. What has changed, what this regulation will change, is before, on this example, when only one lot was allowed, or excuse me, one improvement was allowed on the site, gee, all that area to the back, it's nice, it's yard space, but it doesn't have its own development potential, and therefore it's not worth as much as the front part or an area that would be necessary to support the home. We already have a home on this site, so any other space is yard space. Is it worth money? Certainly. Is it worth as much money as it would be if we could put a new home on it? No, that was the old rule. Now the new rule is, well, maybe you can split it. And if so, should you? The answer to the should you is you should split it, or better put, more value is in that site if it's split, because the value of a development site is higher than the value of extra yard space. So the problem of having a large lot, and should it be split and subdivided and maybe developed, that's been an appraisal problem to solve forever. What's new about this law is now it creates that opportunity in areas that we wouldn't have thought possible before.
Excellent. So what if they split this lot and it was originally worth $1 million, and homes around this area go around $1 million, and they build a new home here? In theory, both homes should get close to value. Is that correct? Maybe 900,000 or something to that effect.
Well, you know, if you're going to split in order to split it, and make sure that I'm following your example here along. So we take, we look at this property. It's the number ICN is 126, the corner lot there. And let's say that that's worth $1 million as it is. So the question becomes, what if I split it? We'll keep the original improvement on the top half, and we're going to develop a new home on the bottom half. Would we expect the sum of those two parts to be greater than the total value as it is as a single lot? We would definitely expect that to occur. That is not the only question to be asked, however, because while the value would be higher, we need to take a look at the feasibility of actually developing the site. So in this example, let's assume that this lot is 20,000 square feet. If we split it in half, we're going to get 10,000 and 10,000. Do 10,000 square foot lots in this particular neighborhood have a market, have a demand? If they do, then the next question is, okay, and if I build a new house, can I sell it for more than what it costs me to create? It has to, otherwise I'm not going to do it. So if the answer to that is yes, then not only do we have the expectation that the two individual parts are worth more than the as is right now, but we actually can have the feasibility. We can do it and cover all our costs and make a profit. And as long as there's people that are buying homes on 10,000 square foot lots in this neighborhood, and there's demand for it, that's the thing to do.
So it strikes me when I look at the numbers that the cheaper and easier way to do this would be to go ahead and add an ADU that is completely independent, utility-wise and everything else, from the primary house, and then split the lot. To me, not only is it's a good $40,000 cheaper to permit an ADU versus a custom-built home, even if they look exact and feel exactly the same, because ADUs are now deregulated. But also, you're going to get more value with the build to the land once the building's actually on, rather than speculating what future development might be. Is that correct?
Yeah, that would be, I think that would be a reasonable expectation to have under a lot of circumstances. So if we can, let's shrink this lot. I said 20,000 before, and we're going to split it into 10,000. Let's say that this is a 6,000 square foot house, 6,000 square foot lot, and the house at the front is 1,000 square feet. I can build 1,000 square foot ADU on the back. So now what I have is probably an older front house and something that is brand new that looks real close to what I had on the front. Then if I can split it, and there are no permit issues with doing it that way, that would strike me as a very, very, very efficient and feasible way to do this.
Absolutely. And, you know, you're seeing those inland lots that have, some of them have huge backyards where that makes all the sense in the world. And you don't need to build a big house, you know, to cover all the lot. You can also build up ultimately as well. So it's got a smaller footprint, but still a ton of square footage, especially in areas where you can take advantage of the view. So appraisers are going to be doing a lot more of these lot split appraisals, and you are going to be leading training on that at the Appraisal Institute. I think this is going to be one of the hottest topics over the next 5 to 10 years in California. So I think it's what you're doing, Dennis, is super critical to getting the proper valuations of these. Thank you.
You're very welcome, and thank you. I agree with you. This has the potential of doing so much for so many people. It will create additional housing. It gives opportunities to people who own these particular sites to get additional wealth out of their property because of this zoning change. I see it as a win-win. I see it as appraisers. We need to make sure that we have the tools necessary to get ready to start valuing these properties.
Sounds good.